Okay, imagine this. You're driving down a country road and you're seeing fields of cows. Brown cow, black and white cow, another brown cow. It's all very nice, but kind of boring, right? Then all of a sudden you see it, a purple cow. You would slam on the brakes, you'd stare, and you would absolutely 100% tell someone about it later. Well, that simple, powerful image is the core of Seth Godin's purple cow. And in this explainer, we're going to break down exactly how this one idea can take your work from being totally invisible to truly remarkable. So let's just dive right into the deep end here. Have you ever felt like you're just shouting into the void? I mean, you've built something great, something you're really proud of. You put it out into the world, but it feels like nobody is listening. Crickets. That feeling, it's captured perfectly by this question. Why is your marketing invisible? In a world that's just drowning in messages, why is it so incredibly hard to get noticed? Well, the answer is actually pretty simple, and it's the foundation of our first section here. The old way of doing marketing is completely broken. That playbook that built huge, massive brands for like the better part of a century, yeah, it's pretty much obsolete now. The rules of the game have totally changed. Now, this is really interesting. Godin calls the old way the TV industrial complex. And for decades, the formula was super simple. First, create a pretty average, safe product for the masses. Then, buy a ton of TV ads to interrupt people over and over again and tell them about it. And those ads, they created demand, which drove sales, and then the profits were plowed right back into, you guessed it, more ads. But that whole cycle is over. Why? Well, because we, the consumers, are just overwhelmed. We have way too many choices and absolutely no time to sort through them all. We've basically become black belts at ignoring all the noise. And this slide just lays out that huge shift so clearly. On the left, you've got the old rule. Just slap a shiny coat of marketing paint on a boring, ordinary product. But the new rule over on the right, it flips that whole thing on its head. It's about building the marketing into the product from day one. The goal isn't to interrupt the masses anymore. It's to create something so unique, so interesting that the right people, the enthusiasts, the trendsetters, they actively come looking for you. So if the old system's broken, what's the solution? Well, that brings us to our next section. What in the world is a purple cow? You see, marketers always talk about the P's of marketing, product, price, promotion, place. But Godin argues there's a new P, and it's way more important than all the others. And here it is. A purple cow is something remarkable. Simple as that. It's that one specific feature, that unique design, that mind-blowing customer service, that powerful story, that one thing that is so exceptional, so unforgettable. It literally makes people stop in their tracks and take notice. It's not just different, it's worthy of a remark. It's something people feel like they have to talk about. This quote from Godin himself really just nails it. Remarkability isn't some extra feature you add on at the end. It's not marketing glitter. It has to be in the very DNA of what you're making, right from the very beginning. The product itself has to become your most powerful form of marketing. Okay, now get ready for a bit of a twist, because this next part feels a little backward at first. We are all taught to aim for very good, right? We want to deliver a high-quality product, a solid service. But in the world of the purple cow, being very good is actually a recipe for total failure. And this slide just shows the difference perfectly. Remarkable, over on the left, is something people talk about. It spreads because it's an exceptional experience, either exceptionally good or even, get this, exceptionally bad. Think about it. You tell your friends about that 5-star meal you had, or you complain about the airline that lost your luggage for 3 days. What don't you talk about? The flight that was perfectly on time and totally safe. That's very good. It just met your expectations. And because of that, it's boring. It's invisible. So, here's the crucial takeaway. Striving to be very good just lands you smack in the middle of a giant crowded field where, guess what? Everyone else is also very good. And in that giant sea of competence and sameness, you just disappear. And this brings us to a huge paradox in modern business. We're all conditioned to think that playing it safe, trying not to offend anyone, is the low-risk path. But Godin argues the exact opposite is true. In a crowded marketplace, trying to fit in is a guarantee that you will fail. Not standing out is the exact same thing as being invisible. The riskiest thing you can possibly do is be safe. All right, so we get the theory. Be remarkable, not just pretty good. But how do you actually do that? That's the big question. So let's get practical and explore some actual strategies for finding your own purple cow. Just look at these examples. Herman Miller jumped into the incredibly boring office chair market and created the Aaron chair, this bold, super expensive, kind of skeletal-looking thing that instantly became a status symbol. Dutch Boy looked at the messy, frustrating paint can and reinvented it as an easy pour plastic jug. Genius! Carrad knew they couldn't beat Band-Aid on trust, so they made bandages fun for kids. And Dr. Bronner's soap? That stuff grew with zero ads, just a bizarre, text-crammed bottle that you can't help but pick up and read. Every single one was remarkable in an otherwise boring category. And that brings us to a really critical strategy. You have to stop trying to make something for everybody. Instead, you've got to obsess over a small, passionate niche of people that Godin calls sneezers. These are the innovators, the early adopters, the people who just love trying new things. And, this is the important part, they love telling everyone about the cool new things they find. If you can create something that this group finds absolutely irresistible, they will literally become your marketing department. See, this strategy creates this really powerful, self-sustaining cycle. First, you earn the attention and trust of that niche audience. Second, you give those sneezers the tools and the story to spread your idea for you. Third, as the idea spreads, you build a profitable business. And fourth, and this is the part a lot of people forget, you don't just kick back and relax. You take those profits and you reinvest them in creating the next purple cow. Because, let's face it, no product stays remarkable forever. So, as we start to wrap this all up, the focus naturally shifts from all these big ideas and case studies, and it turns back to you and to your own work. You know, this is such a crucial insight from Godin. Most companies don't fail because they have a shortage of remarkable ideas. I guarantee you they probably have a ton of them sitting in a file cabinet somewhere. No, they fail because they're afraid. They just lack the courage, the sheer will to execute on a bold, risky idea that might not work or might ruffle some feathers. The barrier isn't a lack of creativity, it's fear. And that brings us right back where we started, to the core paradoxical lesson of this whole thing, summed up perfectly right here. Safe is risky. The most dangerous, failure-prone strategy in the world we live in today is to play it safe. So we're going to leave you with this one final challenging thought. Whether you're building a company, launching a product, leading a team, or hey, even just building your own career, what are you doing that's actually worth talking about? What's that one thing that's going to make the right people stop, take notice, and tell everyone they know? So, the crucial question is, what's your purple cow?